Hello everyone, this is Stephanie, your CSA coach, and it is week 12B of our CSA shares for the 2025 season. We are officially halfway through the season, being that it's week 12. No real announcements, just make sure that you are reading the emails that come out on Monday. For the past few weeks, mine have been going to junk, so I have no idea why. I've been receiving the emails for years. So if you're not receiving them or not seeing them immediately, always check your junk folder. And then Trisha is always posting a link in our Facebook group as well. So lots of ways to receive that email. In the email, it tells us what we're getting each week for our share. Also links up recipes that work. And then it also showcases a specific produce each week. So super important because like this week, we have the fingerling potatoes. So there's a whole section of the email that talks about the fingerling potatoes. Last week it was ground cherries. So if you're not reading those, even if you're a longtime member, it kind of gives you an update of what those vegetables are, how to use them, how to store them, and then possible ideas of what to use them for. So those emails obviously take a lot of time to put together, but are linked with tons of information that really make each week successful. So make sure you're reading those from start to finish. Okay, jumping right into this week's share, we have basil. Basil is stored just like this, glass of water on the counter, room temperature. Basil is great used in pestos, in salad dressings, in marinades, in like a caprese salad where we have an abundant amount of tomatoes, so it pairs really well with tomatoes. If you're making a big batch of pesto, you can always freeze it and then pull out, like I like to freeze it in ice cube trays and then pull out individual pieces of pesto. So that's not one big container. That's a great way to preserve it, but stored on the counter just like that. Bruschetta would be another great use of a lot of our produce this week because we have so many tomatoes. We have the onions. You could throw, you could even do a salsa. So salsas, bruschetta, pesto, a great easy salad. Lots of ways to use a lot of the vegetables. Okay, we got to pick cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes, don't wash them until you're ready to use them. Keep them on the counter. They're best stored at room temperature. And then you can eat them just like this as a snack, which is what I tend to do. I walk by and just grab a few. They roast really well. There was a dip. I'm a little bit out of sync because of being on vacation, but I think it was last week or the week before that was a cherry tomato and burrata dip. It is fantastic. So try that if you haven't tried that yet. You can eat them raw, you can roast them, you can make a big batch of tomato sauce using these and the larger tomatoes. These are great in salads. They're great in like a veggie dip. They're great on a charcuterie platter. We have so many great fresh vegetables that you could easily do kind of a snack platter with those. Also, we have a bunch of regular tomatoes, so a mix of heirlooms, early girls. They all get stored on the counter. Best stored on the counter unless they're cut. Once you cut them, then throw them in the fridge and use them within a day or two. Roasted tomato sauce, bruschetta, salsas, tomato soup. So that's a good option. And if you're not in the soup mood because it's been so hot, make it and freeze it, and then you'll preserve your tomatoes for future use. You can also slow roast the tomatoes. I tend to like them fresh, so I like bruschettas and tomato salads and things like that. Peppers. So we have cubanelle peppers and bell peppers. These are stored in the fridge in your crisper drawer. Used as a snack, so simply slice up and eat them. Used on just as a snack, used on salads, You could do a big sheet pan fajita that is a couple years old, but there's definitely a recipe for sheet pan fajitas. You could use these along with the onions. What else? Salsas. You can add these to salsas, and you can stuff them also, or stir fries. We have eggplant. Eggplant is stored in the crisper drawer. It doesn't like to be moist, so I like to keep a paper towel around it. You can eat it grilled, roasted. You can bread it and air fry it. You can, there's a couple, I know there's like an eggplant dip on the website. I know there's grilled eggplant. There's been a couple posts about eggplant in the Facebook group with different recipes, so try different things and see what you like. But definitely an easy, you could do a big sheet pan roasted vegetable meal too, because there's a lot of vegetables you can roast. We have summer squash. So summer squash is stored in the crisper drawer of your fridge. You can eat it raw. You can shred it and freeze it and use it in baked goods in the future. I also throw it into chili, so it's a way to add vegetables to your chili. And I do that also, like I shred it, throw it in the freezer, and then later in the winter months, I pull it out and throw it into my chili. You can grill it. You can turn it into noodles. What else? Stir fries, sheet pan roasted vegetables, or simply cut up and eaten raw as well. We have sweet onions. Now sweet onions, these are not cured. They don't have the skins on the outside. So we want to store them in the fridge. Sweet onions are great to add onion flavor to any dish. So you can pair it with your tomatoes and do like a tomato salad. You can do a bruschetta. You can do a salsa. You can do a roasted sheet pan meal. They pair well with the potatoes that we got this week. And you can also slice them up and use them raw. They're also great grilled. So lots of options there. We have Swiss chard. Swiss chard is stored in a Debbie Meyer green bag in the fridge, and it's one of our greens. So simple way is just saute it with a little bit of garlic and onion on the stovetop and serve it just like that. There's also a recipe for pickled Swiss chard stems. You can eat it raw, but it's most often sauteed and served as a side. It pairs really well with eggs, so you could put it in like a quiche or a frittata also. This week for our shares on Tuesday, we have green beans. Green beans are stored in the fridge. Throw them in a Ziploc bag or a Debbie Meyer green bag and put them in the fridge. Once you're ready to use them, we actually love eating green beans raw, just like this. But I actually think this week I am going to serve them as a side for dinner for one of our meals, and I'll just quickly steam them and then season them. I like them on the al dente side, or whatever it is. So only lightly cooked and still a little bit crunchy. You can roast them. They can be added to stir fries. Definitely can eat them raw. You can throw them on top of salads. You can put them on a snack board. On Thursday, you may or may not see these because our shares are so flexible and we're not sure what the farmland is going to provide for us. You may see these subbed out with something else. So just stay tuned for that. It depends on how many green beans our farmers do get. So those are our green beans. We have fingerling potatoes. So our fingerlings were showcased in this week's email. So take a look at that for more information on them. They are best stored in a paper bag in a cool, dry place. Pretty sure that this week's recipe is going to showcase the fingerlings, so stay tuned for that on Thursday. But these are amazing roasted. You can also grill them, you can also mash them, you can also boil them, but they're best roasted. It just brings out the flavor of the fingerlings. We have a small head of lettuce, which looks amazing. So obviously stored in the fridge, just like our other greens in a Debbie Meyer green bag. I would use this within the week, obviously as a base for a salad, or you can also do a topping on burgers, a topping on tacos. You can chop it up and make it a chopped salad, or you can leave the leaves whole and use them as a vessel for like a taco or like a chicken salad, an egg salad, something like that instead of bread. Last but not least, we got to pick ground cherries. Now, ground cherries, when you pick them, you're not actually picking from the plant. One of the reasons they're called ground cherries is when they're ripe enough, they actually fall. So when I kind of gently move some of the plants, you can hear some of the ground cherries fall. And you will see that they're, depending on how long they've been on the ground, they're like a light yellow or more of like a tan husk on the outside. These are typically best stored in either a paper bag that can breathe in a cool, dry place, or I leave them just like this sometimes and throw this container in the fridge and they will last. Leave the husks on until you're ready to use them. And once you're ready to use them, there are a bunch of recipes on the website. I know I have chocolate covered ground cherries. You can just eat them as a snack like this. Once you peel them, and expose the cherry on the inside, it's kind of a fun way to display them with the husks still on. So you could pull them apart just like this and serve them on a snack tray. And then you bite the cherry off and throw away the husk. But you can use these in a lot of desserts. You can throw them on top of salads. You can dehydrate them, which is actually, I think, what I'm going to do with them this week. I haven't ever done that before and I've been wanting to try, so I'm gonna try doing that. But there are several recipes for ground cherries on the website. They are great in baked goods. So you can add them to baked goods, and you can Google recipes if you're looking for a specific baked good. That is it for this week. I will be back again next week on Tuesday. I'm done with my vacations. If there are any questions, just make sure you post on the Facebook group and make sure to specifically tag me. I don't always see everything that's posted, but if you tag me, I will see it. Take a look at what you still have left from last week, use that up first, and then make a plan for what you have this week. I will see you guys all again next Tuesday.